Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you happen to be watching. This is Risco in Tokyo coming at you with a little bit of total self-indulgence, as it says on there. I'm going to be taking a look at a couple of hubs that I've recently had to delete because my profile has been getting pretty wonky, but I wanted to show them off one last time. We're here backstage because I'm trying to bundle up things, doing them at the same time because I am so very busy. But if you ever wanted to wonder what my title card setup looked like, it looks like this. But yeah, they're all what I call PITA Hubs because they are all a pain in the ass. They were a pain in the ass to build, they were a pain in the ass to set up, pain in the ass to record in, and just generally a pain in the ass. But I did have a soft spot for them, I did love them, and I did want to show them off one last time, and that's what we're going to do. Now, I did record these under circumstances of time and not great brain meats, and then I deleted the hubs as soon as I finished the recording, so I can't do another recording, and I hopefully am able to convey the information about them that I wanted to, but I don't even remember at this point what I said, so, you know, there's that. But hopefully you'll get something, you know, interesting out of this experience, see a little bit of my history and how I used to have things set up quite poorly, to be honest, but you know, we learn from everything that we do, and I certainly learned from the process of making all of these. But yeah, 4 PITA Hubs for y'all's enjoyment. Please do enjoy and all of that, and we'll just go to the hub. Alright, so here we are in hell, or at least a hell, and as far as pain in the butt hubs go, this, if I were to convert this into an LBsP hub, and it probably wouldn't be that bad, because a lot of this would get stripped out. Like, all of these circuit boards, they would get stripped out because they were all for the original show. But actually, using this hub in the show was such a pain in the butt because I was trying a lot of like animated stuff with characters that weren't sack things, and that was pretty difficult. I had a lot of moving pieces in this hub. I had a neat little animated sequence that actually for some reason is saved here because I think it took place after the you know, after we looked at the levels, so I still had the logic was like backed up basically, but we can take a look at that. It's exciting. Actually, we need to pull up, I think, a little bit because I think the cameras aren't on. But this is when we introduced Pam. And there's Pam. We see she's appeared on top of Senor Diablo's head. Chops the head off. Blood everywhere. Now there's cameras. I don't know why. And all these characters had speech to do, and I had to time it out correctly, and it just sucked. It was so bad. It was so not great. I hated it. Pam was basically chasing us. She's we insulted her off of camera in a different world, and now she's been chasing us world to world, and has finally tracked us down and is going to kill us. It was just goofy. I don't even know what was going on. But yeah, this hub was a mess. It was messy to set up from an animation standpoint, and I just never wanted to go back to this hub, basically. We're going to go to another hub next, which has got some similar problems to this one, where it's like a lot of things in a lot of layers that made it really difficult to edit anything once I'd already gotten it made. But we're going to go from this very hot place to a very cool and wet place, but we'll see you there. See yas! Alright, so this hub, and this one's actually like, as far as the setup required for this hub, and it's not super bad. It's not as bad as some of the setups of the other hubs had been, although there was a fair amount of like animation work that needed to be done in the first section because the idea was my character couldn't breathe underwater and needed a, like, I don't know, there was need to do a spell so that my character would have gills. Something like that. I don't really remember how it worked out, but like there was a bunch of animation that was going on in the beginning of the level. But really the biggest problem with this level is with this hub is that it's so busy that it actually screws up the logic in the clock. And this is the first time that I noticed, like, actually, and could see, like, with my eyes, that if you've got, like, too much stuff going on in the level, and that it'll actually, screw up the, it'll screw up some of the logic, the timing in the logic. I can't remember precisely why that happens, but like the clock in the background, if you had watched the original episode, and you still see this sometimes in a couple of my hubs, some of the busier hubs, that the clock time doesn't actually match up with the episode time, because it's like losing frames here and there. And because the pulse counter is working off the frames, then it's like basically dropping bits of seconds, and they all add up after a while, and that really got on my nerves. Building this level, building this hub, I keep on saying level, was pretty frustrating, to be honest, because at this point in my creation life, I did not realize that you could just change the visible layers and set whatever you wanted your first layer to be. So I had these set to like 1 to 16 constantly, which meant anytime I wanted to do any work in the back, because I didn't do things from, layer 1 and then do that, and layer 2 and do that, I just did it as the ideas came into my head, then I needed to... Ooh, wow. That's not what we wanted. I needed to kind of, like we would normally do, ghost out things until I could get to wherever I wanted to be, and my cursor would be jumping all over the shop because it didn't know what it was supposed to track, because we had all these fish in the front that would be attracting, the cursor interact with this thing, and all I needed to do was turn off visible layers. But I didn't even know until like late last year or early this one that you could actually do that, because it had never come up before. But yeah, this was a lot. This was a lot to make, even if it wasn't a lot to set up. But I do love this hub. I think it looks really cool. You got lots of little animation going on with the sea anemones down there. You got like some little eyeballs going on there. We got Pam, who is a toaster, but is also the greatest swordswoman in the galaxy. In all of reality. I liked Pam. She was cool. I never really knew what to do with her as a character until like way late in second season, and I wish like I had the ideas for her earlier, because I ended up really liking her as a character, and I liked her place in the story, but by the time I kind of got to that point with her, I just like, I didn't have a time enough in the season to expand it, because like I was doing, I had it set up where it was like an episode a week for a year. The 52 episodes, and that was one season. And so like I didn't figure her stuff out until probably like late 30s of season 2, and then it was just, there was no more real time left to expand on her, but she was cool. Pam was cool. It was kind of funny because like I started off with May here, and Skullface, who's swimming along with the fish in the back there, because I just need something to do with him. And I started off with them because they were like some of my oldest OCs, and I had really good ideas of who they were and how they acted. But I didn't necessarily have direction for them. Like, I kind of had direction for where I wanted May to go as a character, how I wanted to grow. I wanted her to grow as a character. But Frank it took a long time to get into Frank's head and figure out what to do with him as well. So he ended up kind of being sidelined, and I had a lot of focus on May in the first season just because I got her super well. Like, I knew where I was going with her, and looking back, and it makes a lot of sense because there's a lot of me in the character of May, and a lot of like how she deals with things is the way I both I idealized how I wanted to deal with things, and her sister, who is actually my first OC, was how I saw myself dealing with a lot of things, and in a very negative sense. I hated her sister's character because I saw myself in her very, very strongly, and yeah, it was awful. But this hub, it's cool. Like, it looks really nice, and it's just really nifty, and it's just an entirely giant pain in the butt to actually do anything with. Let's go to another one. I think we'll go next to a very meta hub, a very weird one, but it's kind of a neat one. But yeah, let's go over there. Is there anything to see in the logic? Not really. I don't think there's anything particularly special going on in the logic here. Just a lot of really simple. I say really simple things. Some of the character stuff isn't very simple, but it's like stuff I'd been using for a year up to that point anyways, and I didn't really need to change. It didn't seem difficult to me by that point. But yeah, let's go over to our meta hub when roughly 15 minutes fresh got meta. Alright, so for this hub, and sometimes you get those ideas that are just like, they're really, really cool in concept, and then they're actually amazingly impractical in application, and this was definitely one of those. So this was one of the levels we were looking at when we were like unstuck in time and space and going to all these different places, and my idea was that we're going to do like a break the fourth wall and show off like one of my old levels as a hub, and be like, actually reference the fact that I was a creator outside of the show and game who was acting in the show or game. It was very meta and it was very silly, and I wanted to look at my first LBP 1 level, not my first LBP 1 level, but the only one that actually survived, and it was this, and it was terrible. I wanted to do like everything in the LBP 1 style as much as possible, so, you know, because we didn't have SAC bots in LBP 1, I was like, oh, well, we'll make cardboard cutouts and animate them, and oh my god, like, they're, like, because there's different photos for different expressions on the characters as well. So there's like 2 right walking animations, there's 2 left walking animations, there's like a stand forward animation, a stand backward animation, and like a picture for every one of those. And so every time it moves, it's cycling through those, you know, cheating with opacity tweaker, and this took forever. I've got it set up to be able to jump, and like it doesn't anymore. I don't know why it doesn't jump, and I don't like care. I did this level, and like I never wanted to look at it again. So like it's set up like the TV, like we would be watching through the TV. It's a phony TV, because you know, this is actually like from the Osaka style Hanami, the LBP 1 level that I've got up. And like I just cut out a piece and set it up like this. This is like, just look. Sorry about the cough. Look at all of this crap. This is just like on my character, and I don't know what any of this does anymore and why it does things. Does it actually do something if I hit L1? I think maybe it will. Oh god, it does! What the heck? I actually, wowzers and or Bowsers. This is like too much. This whole idea was just too much. Like, the idea was cute. We've got like Pam over here, and she's got different animations to show her emotion because she's just a toaster and she has no facial expressions. But she would come down and there was like a switch that she could hit, and that would make the grades on the boards light up. This is, I mean, it's cute. Okay, fine, it's cute, but I hated this. I hated making it. It took forever. I hated setting it up for the actual show itself and the recording. Like, it was a lot. Everything about this was a lot, and I'm kind of glad that I'm finally gonna delete it and see it go. But it is, I mean, it's cool-ish. It's kind of neat. I appreciate it, I guess. It's a thing. This whole thing is a thing. What was going on in my life in August 25th, 2017, that I had this much time to spend on on doing this? I don't even know. Let's get out of here. Let's go to another hub. Alright, and so for the last hub that we're going to look at, I don't know why I made this one the last, because it was actually the first one in this sequence of like hubs all over time and space, and we've got the end of time hub, and as you can see, you could probably guess why this hub is such a pain in the butt, because like it is busy. There's so much in this. There's so much like animated stuff going on, and you've got like things are moving in and out of layers and things are rotating. I've got all these stars up here and I don't know why, because there is at no point in the show that you could actually have seen any of the stars because our cameras are way down here. But the idea I had with this is like, if you played Chrono Trigger, and you know, it's perfectly acceptable if you have not, because that's like 30 plus years old at this point, but there's a section where you go to like this point in between times, and it looks like an old-timey street kind of deal, and it's seen from 3/4 up, and you meet like the god of time there, and then you can go to different eras from that point before you get your time machine. And that was kind of the idea that I had going on in this, and then I kind of expanded out and I built out from that. And like, I like the hub in concept. It's really neat. It's got a lot going on, but it's just so very much, like, so way more than it needs to be. I think like maybe these stars actually fall at some point, like maybe randomly they drop. I'm not like digging in and looking at their triggers. Wait, there's one that's open. What's going on? Yeah, like there's impact sensors to make them destroy, so I guess these would end up getting thrown down. Maybe we can we make it happen? You and the captain making it happen. Oh fudge, get over there. What are you impacting? Like what is it that you're gonna hit that makes you disappear? I don't even know. I guess they just go through existence. I don't even know what's going on down here. Like there's just a sack thing. Sure. You'll notice that there's a lot of like ghosted bits here. So what's actually going on is that there was a set of cameras that would randomly trigger, that would like turn everything that we could see here invisible, and there's actually a secondary hub that's a little bit down, and I think to the right of where we are now, where it had a secondary set of characters that were all in death poses, and it would just like randomly throw that up on the screen, like blink in and out, blink and you would miss it type of deal. And I made it, and it was like, oh, that's really neat. And then I actually like tried to implement it, and it kind of worked, but it was just kind of super annoying, and I ended up turning all of that off because it sucked. It was terrible. Like, it was just awful. Things are tracking on different tags, and just this is so busy. It didn't need to be this busy. Like, is it cool? I think so. I think it's really neat. But is it necessary? Oh god, no. No, not at all. Like, got these little ghost balls that are just like hopping around. A lot of these techniques I would use in different places, in different hubs, but I would never ever want to use this hub again, because it's just like, it's a lot. It's totally a lot. It's totally too much. Oddsock's Platform of Oddsockness apparently was a bad level. Who knew? I don't remember any of these levels. I should go back and play them. I think I kind of remember G-Crab, and maybe we'll go back and play G-Crab for the archives, so I should probably write that down before I delete this level, because this is getting deleted. Like, all this stuff is getting deleted. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, like, I've had super big problems with my profile crashing recently. Like, it just constantly, every time I try to save something, or like I try to exit the game or copy something, like it crashes and it corrupts my profile. I'm hoping that by getting rid of a lot of dross, that like it will help. Maybe, you know, fingers crossed, toes crossed, but who knows? I think you can still see like Frank blinking in and out of existence sometimes in the video. Pause it, maybe you'll see, but not Frank's dead body. But this was kind of neat looking behind the scenes at some of these old hubs and places, you know, where my reach exceeded my grasp. I had more ambition than I had really the skill to realize, and like I'm happy-ish with some of the work that I did at that time. I think it's neat, but looking at it with my eyes today and looking at it with what I know of how to make effects work, like everything is way more difficult than it could have possibly needed to be ever. And if it goes away, then sometimes... Oh, hey, there was a star that just died. We got to see it happen. So cool, that was neat. Yeah, you know, sometimes it's okay to say goodbye to old work and you know, things that were you could be proud that you made them. You could be proud of the effort and the hard work that you put in to get them realized, but also recognize that you've moved beyond that spot and you could do better things, and we don't need to always hold on to the past. And I'm jettisoning some past, and it needed to go, if only to save my profile, because I really need the profile to not crash. But I hope that you've enjoyed this trip down memory lane. I hope maybe you've seen some things that were interesting to you, and maybe a little bit inspiring to you. Who knows? Who's to say? But that pretty much does it for us here. Disco About, this special edition. So from me, Disco, here in Tokyo, to all of you out there, wherever you may happen to be, thank you. Arigato, arigato, sayonara, see you, and ciao.